Welcome, focused learners, to the boardroom. Take a seat. I'm stepping in as your managing director today for a C-suite grade proposal audit. We are diving into an absolutely critical asset within your Cambridge AS and A-level Mathematics 9709 portfolio, and that is circular measure. Now look, mastering radians, arc length, and sector area, that is not just about scraping by or passing a test. It is about aggressively securing those top-band, premium marks from the toughest examiners out there. Think of this topic as your blue-chip stock. It appears consistently across examination series and functions as a highly predictable, high-yield source of marks. But, and this is a massive but, that only applies if you know exactly how to structure your pitch. Today, we are stripping away the confusion. I am here to completely reject poorly framed mathematical arguments, and we are going to ensure you are structuring your answers with bulletproof logic, precise data analytics, and corporate-level evaluative reasoning. Let's imagine an executive value meter ticking up on the wall right now, from $0 at a Band 5 fail, all the way to $1 million a Band 1 A-star valuation. That's our target. Let's get to work.
Okay, let's dive into our strategic blueprint for today. We'll kick things off with the boardroom briefing, move into the theoretical architecture, lay out our technical execution framework, run a strict liability audit, and close out with a final compliance review.
Section 1. The boardroom briefing, where we audit your core assets.
All right, first things first, we need to completely redefine what you thought you knew about measuring angles. Forget degrees. In junior math, sure, degrees were a perfectly fine low-level currency. But as we step into the big leagues of A-level calculus, trigonometry, and circular measure, degrees are a liability. They just do not offer the precision we need. In this boardroom, we operate exclusively in radians. Radians are the fundamental, non-negotiable unit of circular measure required to build precise causal relationships and real analytical depth in your answers. Let me tell you about two junior associates I had in here yesterday, Alex and Sam. Alex is the kind of consultant who brings massive volumes of raw factual data to a pitch, but completely fails to evaluate the actual market risk. Sam, on the other hand, speaks a mile a minute, pitches these brilliant creative concepts, but has absolutely zero hard asset backing, no formulas, no specific case studies. Both of them completely bombed a basic circular measure pitch yesterday because they didn't fully grasp what a radian actually is. By definition, a radian is the angle subtended at the center of a circle by an arc whose length is exactly equal to the circle's radius. By utilizing this pure, elegant ratio, we eliminate that completely arbitrary number of 360 and align our calculations perfectly with the natural geometry of the circle. Understanding this foundational definition and internalizing that pi radians is exactly equal to 180 degrees is your very first step in building a compliant, high-value academic portfolio.
Now, let's look at your core formula arsenal. We have two primary calculations that will generate the bulk of your ROI. First up, arc length. This is represented by the incredibly streamlined formula S equals R theta. Simple, right? Second, we have sector area, which is defined by A equals 1/2 R squared theta. But here is where deals fall apart. The crucial point, the absolute make or break constraint, is right there in the required data variables column. There is a non-negotiable compliance rule here. Your angle, theta, absolutely, unequivocally must be in radians. If you step into the exam hall, attempt to execute a proposal using these formulas, but you input your angle in degrees, your entire mathematical framework instantly collapses. You will score 0 for that section. It's academic bankruptcy. These formulas might look straightforward, but they are incredibly powerful because they allow for rapid, seamless problem solving under pressure. When you're managing a tight exam clock, facing a strict audit deadline, these formulas are exactly what allow you to process complex geometric combinations with both speed and accuracy. Whether you're finding the perimeter of an intricate shaded region or the exact surface footprint of a compound shape, these two equations are your primary levers for maximizing value.
Moving on to Section 2, the theoretical architecture. This is all about securing the method mark.
Here is a massive reality check. The final numerical answer you write down at the bottom of the page, that is actually just one small piece of the puzzle. It's the headline, but it's not the whole pitch. According to the Cambridge Principal Examiner reports, candidates who explicitly reference cross-topic connections achieve significantly higher marks. Let's do a quick deconstruction of a liability proposal. Imagine I project a high-tariff, multi-part past paper question right now. We'll call it the market opportunity. I see so many candidates write out a mediocre, generic descriptive text block. They completely miss the explicit constraints of the command word. A command word like show that, or hence, is a strict regulatory requirement. If you ignore it, your valuation crashes instantly on the marking grid. Top-performing executives don't just memorize isolated formulas. They demonstrate a highly connected, conceptual understanding that transfers seamlessly to unfamiliar contexts. You are rarely going to be handed a simple, isolated sector and asked for its area. The board is going to hand you a complex, compound shape. You'll likely need to execute a basic trigonometry scan, deploying the sine rule or the cosine rule, just to establish a missing radius before you can even touch the circular measure formulas. Or you might need to determine the area of a triangle using 1/2 AB sine C, and then strategically subtract that from your sector area to isolate a minor segment. Examiners are running real-time data tickers tracking your assessment objectives. They are hunting for your method marks, or M marks. These are awarded for the theoretical architecture of your argument. If you just jump to a final numerical value without showing those systemic, analytical steps, you're hiding your due diligence. The board won't invest, and you won't get to marks.
Section 3. The Technical Execution Framework. This is your standard operating procedure. To guarantee you're consistently hitting the mark scheme requirements, you cannot just wing it. You need a systematic 5-step processing framework. Let me take you backstage for a second to a consultant co-op debate I overheard between our two associates, Alex and Sam. They were trying to merge their assets to create the ultimate joint venture answer paragraph. Alex wanted to start the pitch by overloading the opening with technical dictionary definitions. "Let's define a circle. Let's define a radian," he said. Sam, meanwhile, was fighting to pivot immediately into an analytical counterargument, completely skipping the baseline data. I had to step in and say, "Stop, both of you. You are failing regulatory compliance." We literally rewrote their core thesis live to fit this exact 5-step SOP. Step 1, deconstruct and extract. Read the scenario and pull out the hard data. Is the radius explicit? Is the angle in radians or degrees? Extract those variables immediately. Step 2, select your analytical framework. Are we optimizing for a perimeter? That means activating the arc length formula. Or are we targeting a surface footprint? That requires the sector area equation. Step 3, execute with clear notation. This is where you write out your algebraic working meticulously, line by line. No jumps in logic. Step 4, verify reasonableness. This is crucial. If your circle has a radius of 5 centimeters and your calculator spits out an arc length of 4,000 centimeters, something has gone catastrophically wrong. Step back, audit your input, and recalibrate. Step 5, present with correct terminology. Use exact forms like pi/3 if the Cambridge command word strictly demands it, or round precisely to 3 significant figures according to standard corporate conventions.
Section 4. The Liability Audit. It is time to protect your return on investment.
Now, before we run the final numbers to see if this framework can actually secure a top-band valuation, we need a mid-pitch reboot. Pause everything for a second. I need you to look right at me. Before you worry about Cambridge's assessment objectives, ensure your own personal academic assets are properly managed. I want you to subscribe to Ace the Exams at Ace the Exams right now and turn on all notifications. Listen, no matter if your core focus is Cambridge IGCSE, O-levels, AS, or full A-levels, this channel is your guaranteed weekly board seat to secure elite, premium raids. Hit that bell. Let's lock it in. All right, feed calibrated. Back to the audit. The biggest roadblock I see mid-pitch is when a student's evidence beam loses total market compliance. A major examiner alert specifically warns us that the classic mistake is providing generic answers not specific to the question context. When Alex and Sam hit this roadblock, I introduced them to a structural power-up template to save their pitch. We call it the Peel framework. Point, evidence, execution, logic. You make your point about what geometric shape you're isolating. You provide the evidence, which is the specific formula you're deploying. You execute the substitution with your extracted data. And you finalize with logic, ensuring the result is contextually accurate. Every single mathematical step must be strictly linked to the given scenario. You cannot just describe what you plan to do, and you absolutely cannot just throw uncalibrated formulas at the page.
Let's run a live interactive compliance audit. Consider this your assessment 1, the asset inventory scan. Imagine a highly complex Cambridge source chart on the screen right now, a massive compound shape with intersecting sectors and triangles. A 60-second countdown timer is ticking down. 59, 58. Look closely at the data layout. Your job is to extract the highest value data point instantly. If your response is just vague working and superficial breadth, you fail the scan. That's a descriptive text block that leaves the board guessing how you magically arrived at a number. Now contrast that with a high-value asset. This is an executive analytical pitch. You start with a precise definition of your intended formula. You lay out logical steps clearly annotating your substitutions, like dropping the radius and the radian angle into the equation. You are effectively providing an evidence-based recommendation to the examiner. If a student wants to maximize their executive value meter to that $1 million mark, they must seamlessly secure their points line by line. You state the objective: Area of shaded region equals area of sector minus area of triangle. Then you drop the hard mathematical evidence. 1/2 times 6 squared times 1.2 minus 1/2 times 6 squared times sine 1.2. That one structural transformation, it completely rewrites a low-value paragraph into an A-star asset.
Let's move to Assessment 2 of our live audit. Spot the liability. I'm going to rapidly fire off the top 3 mistakes directly from the principal examiner reports. Treat this as your critical risk management checklist. Liability number 1, providing answers that are too vague. In circular measure, this is the classic error of writing down a chaotic string of numbers without ever indicating to the examiner which specific part of a compound shape you are actually calculating. Liability number 2, forgetting to check format and presentation conventions. Did the command word say, find the exact value? Because if it did, and you provide a rounded decimal from your calculator, you have breached Cambridge marking regulations, and your score drops instantly. You must leave pi in your final output. Liability number 3, failing to make answers specific to the given context. This is when candidates ignore the specific geometric properties hiding in plain sight, like failing to notice that a tangent line creates a strict 90-degree angle with the radius. That right angle is a vital, high-value cross-topic connection that you absolutely need to unlock a missing side length before you can even begin to deploy your circular measure formulas. Isolating these exact exploits should always be your first move.
Section 5. The Final Compliance Review. We are entering the execution matrix.
We are at the finish line of the pitch. Alex and Sam just presented their newly engineered flawless response paragraph using our frameworks. And guess what? The executive value meter just hit the maximum $1 million Band 1 A-star mark. The deal is secured. Let me distill this entire session into 3 core corporate pillars for you. First, the due diligence scan. This is the decoding phase. When you see a complex shaded region, do not panic. Deconstruct it into its foundational composite parts. Second, the resource allocation matrix. This is your timing and execution. Solve the problem systematically, showing every single line of your mathematical working, so the examiner can clearly trace your logic. And third, the final compliance audit. This is your review checklist. Evaluate your work and strictly question your assumptions. Did you definitely 100% convert that angle from degrees to radians before you plugged it into the sector area formula? Justify every single mathematical decision you made right there on the page. Remember this ultimate framework: deconstruct, solve, evaluate.
I'll leave you with this final provocative question as we close today's boardroom session. Audit your own past paper attempts right now. Are your exam responses acting as generic liabilities that get easily dismissed by the board? Or are they highly structured, context-specific executive assets, fully optimized to secure maximum valuation on results day? The choice is yours. Practice these frameworks. Run the due diligence. If you want to keep securing these high-level strategies, you know what to do. Subscribe to Ace the Exams at Ace the Exams. Enable that notification bell for our weekly board sessions. And right now, drop a comment below stating your exact target grade, your qualification tier, and your subject. Lock in your commitment. Focus, execute, and I will see you in the next review. Class dismissed.